Hi, this is Alonzo Bodden. I want to welcome you to episode 383 of my podcast, Who's Paying Attention? It's been, I don't know if it's a busy week, but there's a few big stories this week. So most recently would be Brittany Griner's release from the Russian prison. Brittany Griner was traded for an arms dealer named Victor Bout, and she has returned to the United States. Victor Bout has returned to Russia. Of course, many people, let me get into this. Paul Whelan's a U.S. Marine being held in Russia. He's been there since 2018, charged with espionage. President Biden, everyone involved, the negotiators, etc., have all said they've been trying for years to trade to try to get Paul Whelan out of the Russian jail. The Russians won't hear it. The Russians won't talk about it. The Russians would not make any deal that would release Paul Whelan. They made this deal that released Brittany Griner. So, of course, now, mind you, this is the part that's comical. Every credible source has said the government tried to get U.S. Marine Paul Whelan released. President tried, the Secretary of State, whatever negotiators, etc., said they've all been trying to get him released. None of them could do it. And if he's been there since 2018, he was there during the Trump administration, and they couldn't get him out either. So nobody could get him out. Now, of course, all the right-wing news stations are saying, well, they traded for Brittany Griner instead of Paul Whelan. They traded for a black queer woman instead of a white man. They blah, blah, blah. Listen. There's no sense arguing with these people because their minds are made up. Who? The usual, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owen, and on and on. But the way they just ignore facts is really comical. They just ignore the fact that, everybody said that they tried. Everybody said, even his family, Whelan's family said, they've been trying. The government's been trying. They couldn't get him out. We're glad they got Brittany Griner out. They got someone out. We're still trying to get our family member out. It's horrible that he's in. It's horrible that he's in a Russian prison. We don't know how he's suffering, what he's going through, or whatever. All of that is horrible. That doesn't make it like they didn't trade instead of Brittany Griner. But why am I saying this? Why am I wasting time with this when the entire right-wing machine has made up their mind that this was the deal they made? One article in The Root just simply said, black people can't have nice things. Brittany Griner can't be released unless it's, of course, at the cost of this white man, which it isn't. And here's another thing I'm going to throw out there. If Brittany Griner was a blonde woman, there'd be no discussion at all. There'd be no discussion at all. This whole thing wouldn't even be a story. Thank God she's out. Welcome home, blah, blah, blah. She spoke out against America. Yes, she did speak out, not against America. She spoke out against American policing regarding Black Lives Matter and so on. Oh, she spoke out against the government, but then she wants the government to help. Hello, Florida, your insurgents wanted FEMA to help when the hurricane hit. Hello, Texas, yes, you hate the United States government until you get hit with a hurricane or a snow and ice storm or have no electricity. Suddenly the United States government is your friend. So please, if you're not happy about Brittany Griner getting released, shut up. That's an option. There's always the option. I read that one time in a meme. It said, never give up the opportunity to keep your mouth shut. I'm happy Brittany Griner's been released. It was obviously the whole thing was a political stunt and a power play by Putin. In some ways it worked. He got his murderous arms dealer out, which some people are upset about. But this is what they do. And the only thing that's different is this is done publicly. This one was public. It's normally done in private or silently. And if you said Putin did this to create more problems between the right and the left within the United States, I'd say, yeah, you're probably right. And it worked. Senator Raphael Warnock won in Georgia. Yeah, it was ridiculous that it was close. It was ridiculous that there's a runoff, but there was. Herschel Walker, he came close, but now Herschel Walker is free to become a werewolf or, I don't know, get on 23andMe and find out how many kids he has and where they all are, or just go back to Texas where he lives as opposed to Georgia where he pretended to live while running for the Senate. I'm sure by now you've seen all the memes, and you know this is what's funny. You know he can't get anyone on the phone. If he tried to call Ted Cruz or Lindsey Graham or Donald Trump or any of them today after losing, they'd be, Herschel who? What? How'd you get this number? That's what he's hearing a lot of today. How'd you get this number? Why are you calling me? Go werewolfing. So they got it right. They got it right. So now the Democrats have a clear majority of 1 in the Senate, and the Republicans have the House. So for one thing we can be sure of, for the next 2 years, nothing will be done in our government. Count on it. Donald Trump's company has been found guilty of cheating on taxes numerous years in New York, millions of dollars, giving out benefits to his accountant and others, not reporting it as payroll, et cetera, et cetera. You can go through the story, read the charges. I say it doesn't matter. You know why? Because the penalty was a fine of $1.7 million. You know that the taxes avoided were far more than $1.7 million. So this turns out to be a good business deal, right? They might have spent $1.7 million just on the trial, just to prove this, that they're guilty, his company, and he, you know, they didn't indict him. You can be sure he was aware of it. He wasn't the mind behind it because he's not that smart. But he was aware that they were cheating on taxes and doing what they had to do to avoid paying payroll tax or any other tax, and they got away. Once again, the Trump machine got away with it. I don't know if they're smart, lucky, or both. I will say this. A friend of mine and I were talking about this. There's no reason to be good. There's no reason to be moral. There's no reason to follow the rules, because lying, cheating, stealing, whatever you want to call it, all of the above, there's no penalty for it when you get caught. There's no penalty. You get away with it. You beat the system. This Trump machine has beat the system. We see it over and over. The most horrible of people, Dick Cheney, a war criminal. No problem. No penalty for it. George Bush, W, yeah, they started the Iraq war based on nothing. No penalty, nothing. Trump using the presidency to make all of these business deals and stealing government money by putting the Secret Service in the hotels and all of this stuff. You just, yeah, there's no penalty for it. So I don't know. Do you teach your kid to be honest, or do you teach your kid to, quote, win? I mean, Elon Musk, he's a piece of garbage. We see that, right? These billionaires, these egomaniacal billionaires who think they can run anything. You know what? They can, and they do. So is morality an outdated concept? Yeah, it is. It is. And most of us are taught better. Most of us are raised to not be criminal or not lie or game the system or whatever you want to call it, which makes most of us suckers, because we see these rich people every day completely ignoring any rules, whether they be rules of society or law or whatever. It doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. Tell me one who's been really penalized for doing this. Okay, we got the crypto. We don't know if he's a billionaire or a thousandaire. I don't know how much money this guy has or doesn't have, but I know he's hiding in the Bahamas with it. Whatever's left from the billions he conned people out of with the crypto scams. Oh, the crypto scams. I don't know what's better, the crypto scams or the religious scams. You know, I just read an article about that millionaire preacher from Brooklyn who got robbed on his live stream of his church thing, and how many millions of dollars he has. I honestly don't know which con is better. They both work, and there's no penalty for either one. The religious con, I think that's a better con. That's a long con. And speaking of the religious con, the Supreme Court is looking at another case of, can you discriminate based on your religion? I believe this time it was a tech company refusing to make a website for a gay couple or a gay business or something, or whatever it was. Justice Alito finds it hilarious to discriminate, so he did some jokes about black kids in Klan outfits, right? Because why not? So what he said was, is it the same for a white Santa to refuse pictures with black kids? Isn't that the same as a black Santa refusing to take pictures of kids of a black kid in a Klan outfit? And then he laughed. Well, this joke went over like the proverbial lead balloon. Why? Because it wasn't a joke. They laugh so that they can say it's a joke once they're caught. Okay, listen, Alito, there are no black kids in Klan outfits. There are white kids in Klan outfits because you and your friends have made that funny. You made it okay. So we have a bunch of white kids on Halloween in blackface and doing whatever they want to do because you guys think racism is funny. Why? Because it'll never affect you, right? It'll never affect you, Alito. You take off your black robe that you wear during the day and put on a white robe at night with a matching hood. And don't worry, your white robe and hood will be clean because Clarence Thomas will wash it for you. That's where we're at. Supreme Court joking about black kids in Klan outfits and joking about another female justice being on Ashley Madison, a site used to cheat on spouses. That's good. That's the quality we want on our Supreme Court. Again, that's why I'm saying there's no ethics panel for the Supreme Court because the founding fathers never thought our Supreme Court would be a bunch of lowlifes like we have now. And now they're setting it up that you can use your religion to discriminate against anybody. My religion says I can discriminate against black people. My religion says I can discriminate against gays. My religion says I can discriminate against fill in the blank. And once they overturn this, how do you argue with that? Because religion can be anything you want it to be, including a multi-million-dollar tax-free enterprise if you want to drive Rolls Royces and wear a ton of jewelry. I think it's a better scam than crypto, but I'm not sure. Finally, I want to thank Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah has left The Daily Show. He did a remarkable job over the years. I met him. I'd actually met him before, but we worked together a couple of times while he had the show. He was nothing but good to me. He even offered me a writing gig on the show that I couldn't take. But he's a fantastic comedian. He's a fantastic man. I wish him well. And I will say this. I'm going to give up this podcast. I got 2 more weeks, and I'm giving it up at the end of this year. Won't be as big a deal as him leaving The Daily Show. Kudos to you, Trevor, and I wish you Godspeed in everything you do from now on. No doubt you're going to be killing it. Roy Wood Jr., wherever you are, take over the show, Roy, and have fun with it. I'm wishing you the best in that. This is Alonzo Bodden. I am going to be doing the final of the Wait stand-up tour next weekend. We're going to be in Raleigh, and then we're going to be in Tampa, and then we're going to be in Atlanta. And that would be the 15th, 16th, and 17th. Get your tickets online. Wait stand-up tour. Thanks for listening. Thanks for laughing. Who's paying attention? You are. And don't get suckered into any of these arguments like the Brittany Griner argument because the truth just doesn't matter. Herschel, good luck with them kids.